bunch of people, had a lot of people following me, so I did that before I left. But meanwhile, she's watching that. And so that's at twitter.com, Celebrity U Radio. But meanwhile, we've got so many guests, I want to give them as much time as I can. So I'm going to start here with Cathrine Hatcher, who's with personasid.com, and she's going to talk to you, and she's going to be talking to Eddie. So I'm going to hand it over to you.
Thank you, Kathy. Well, today I have Eddie Reeves with me, and I wanted to talk a little bit about why I brought Eddie in. When I think about what I do for a living, which is image communications, I teach people how to communicate more effectively with their image. And one of the things that is important, especially in business, is to make you the walking, talking, breathing business card the most effective that you can be. And that includes thinking about how you're going to market yourself and thinking about your business and who am I as a business person, and what does my business do, and how does that relate to me? Because what I'm finding out in a lot of the networking events that I go to is sometimes people aren't congruent with their business message. And so I thought it would be important to talk about how image can be more congruent and how you can be more effective with your image by thinking about who am I as it relates to my business. Now, of course, some of the techniques that I teach will flow into your social and personal life as well. And basically, I want people to think about it and learn to be more on purpose. So today, I brought in Eddie Reeves, and I want to tell you a little bit about him. I have his bio here because it's quite extensive. And he has done a lot of things, and I didn't want to miss out on one thing. I need to put my glasses on. This make me look smarter?
Absolutely.
Okay, all right. That's what I want to make
That's hard
sure.
to make you look even smarter.
Oh, okay, Eddie Reeves is the founder of Reeves Strategy Group. He is a strategic communications strategist and consultant who provides no-nonsense, and let me tell you, he is no-nonsense, and impactful advice, strategy planning, coaching, counsel, and tactical execution to C-suite leaders of organizations and entities that are serious about making a difference and making progress. So he wants to work with people who are serious about what they do for a living. Now, Eddie has put more than 2.5 decades of experience as an advisor to work, and he's worked with Fortune 1000 CEOs. He's been a counselor to senior political leaders, and I find his work in the political arena very fascinating. He's been a corporate strategic communicator and thought leader, an integrated marketing strategist, a senior public affairs counselor, a successful senior campaign strategist, an award-winning journalist, and a seasoned public policy professional at the local, state, and national levels.
So in other words, I haven't been able to keep a job.
Well, you know what? I wasn't going to ask about that, but so what he does is he uses all of his experience in these arenas, and I'm sure they're integrated and related, and he helps people get real, measurable results. And I know as a business person myself, it's that measurable result that I'm always struggling with. How can I make it more measurable? So thank you for being here, Eddie. I'm so happy to have you.
Wow, thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
Well, you do a teleclass on the 7 deadly sins of miserable marketing, and I love the title of that. And you teach people how to avoid those 7 miserable marketing mistakes. And one of the things that, and I've got the 7 listed here, and I wanted to talk about a few of those in the time that we have. And the first one that I wanted to focus on was people's failure to be clear about who they are.
Absolutely. First of all, thank you very much for having me. Thank you to Kathy. Thank you, Catherine. And I'm very excited about being on Celebrity U Radio. My mother always said I had a face for radio. So, listen, you're right. The first thing you want to start with is getting clear on you. And this sounds kind of common sense, but the thing about common sense is it ain't that common. And I tell my clients all the time, and I find this over and over and over, people don't start with this very basic idea of making sure that you are aware of yourself. Who are you? What are you about? What are you good with? The business guru of all gurus, the guy who kind of started the whole management consulting movement, a guy named Peter Drucker, who died several years ago in his late 90s. But he's the guy that kind of came up with the whole idea of a mission statement. Because the first question he would ask companies is, what's your mission? Now that seems pretty elementary, but that's a very deep question. So the first one is the first failure, the first seven of the seven deadly sins is people fail to really get clear on who they are, what resonates with them. And so what happens is they end up either going into areas, either businesses, or going after markets or offering products or services that don't resonate with them, and then they wonder why they don't have the success that they need.
So I'm thinking that it's learning who you are authentically
Absolutely.
and how you can serve that best serves you then.
Absolutely. I have a friend recently, for instance, who after many years, and he was a highly educated, pretty successful engineer, had his own consulting engineering company, and he was miserable. And his business never grew to the level that it needed to. And he finally just one day clicked to him that what he really loved doing was working with kids, working with young people. And so he went out, he sold his business, started all over, opened a youth camp, and he's absolutely ecstatic with what he's doing. And by the way, his business is growing by leaps and bounds because it resonates deeply with who he is. So that's the first one.
Okay. All right. Now, the second one that I had highlighted here was the failure to develop a clear market focus. So I'm an image consultant, but I don't like to talk about myself as an image consultant because I don't think that that's tight enough. I mean, there are thousands of us out there. So that's why I define it as an image communications expert, where I really work on honing people's ability to communicate. Is that what you're talking about? Or is it
absolutely. It's really interesting because it's counterintuitive to a lot of people. And it's frankly one of the things I always have to end up fighting a little bit with my consulting and coaching clients with when we first start, is to get them to accept this idea that the best way to broaden your business is to narrow your focus. It's what Zig Ziglar calls being a meaningful specific instead of a wandering generality. And it really is important. I mean, if you think about it, just think about it.